What's going on, everyone? Sunday, the 23rd of February, Sports Snippets. Dennis Sullivan here to discuss once again the Miami Heat. Another one of those videos where I'll get into the Heat and what I've observed in their most recent game, actually, which was a win against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I will discuss that game in a little bit of detail and also just provide a brief update on this Sunday regarding where the Miami Heat stand. If you do like the contents of this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'm pointing below because that's where you can like, and that's also, if you haven't subscribed yet, that's where you can subscribe. And it's also where you can leave a comment if you'd like to do so as well. Let's get into it here, guys. So far since the All-Star break, kind of a mixed review I would have. I mean, the Heat are 1-1. I've only played 2 games since the All-Star break, which is, have you noticed? I mean, it's like longer than ever. No complaints. I understand it's for good reason, but it's like a week now. I mean, and again, I know it's a long season. They're playing 82 games. I get it. But in any event, the Heat are 1 win, 1 loss since that break, with a win on Friday night, 124-105 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are definitely rebuilding. I liked the effort in this game, mainly because of the fact that the Heat were without their leader and best player in Jimmy Butler. So he did not play in this game. He'd still not only pull out the win, but looked pretty good in doing so. And yes, this is a rebuilding Cleveland Cavalier team, so we do have to, of course, keep everything in perspective. But nonetheless, everyone, it was a good victory, and it was a good way to definitely get things going here as we head to the home stretch of the 2019-2020 season. I will also point out that the record, point number 2 here, the Miami Heat record of 36-20 does have us in the 4th position, 4th seed in the Eastern Conference. If the playoffs were to start today, we'd be playing the Philadelphia 76ers with the home court advantage, meaning we would get the extra home game if that were the case. Heat don't have much of a margin for error, in my humble opinion, regarding wins and losses and seedings and all that good stuff, because in the event we were to slip to the 5 seed, let's just pretend the Heat and the 76ers switch spots. Now we're playing Philadelphia still in the first round, but now we do not have the extra home game, giving that advantage to the 76ers. So we definitely want to hold on to where we are now. It would be nice if we moved up a little bit. The real seed to get, though, as I point out, and 36-20, I mean, is certainly just a perfectly fine record as far as I'm concerned. I would not have predicted we'd be 16 games over 500. With roughly 26 games left to go. I think that in itself is very impressive, and it's very satisfying if you're a Miami Heat fan. But we need to hold our ground. We need to finish in the top 4 seeds. Ideally, you're looking at a 2nd seed would be the greatest. I am pretty much writing off the chances of getting a 1st seed. I mean, Milwaukee is awesome this year. The Milwaukee Bucks. They will, in all likelihood, get that 1st seed. But Toronto Raptors in the 2nd seed, they are, I might be off a half a game here or there. At last check, right around 41-15. So we would have to make up 5 games with 26 games remaining. I mean, is it possible? Of course it is. But remember, Toronto has played exceptionally well these past few months. I mean, exceptionally well might even be an understatement. If the Heat were to, and while I'm on that subject, if the Heat were to move into the 3rd seed, I mean, there's certainly nothing wrong with that at all. That would be awesome. But they're about 3.5 games behind Boston for that spot, the Boston Celtics. And in all likelihood, again, guys, 3 and 4, meaning 3 and 4 seeds, it's 3 versus 6 in the playoffs, 4 versus 5. Right now, 5 is the 76ers, 6 is Indiana. They're both good teams. They're both actually very good teams if you really want to think about it. They're both capable of winning the East. They really are. I think this is a 6-team, in all due respect to the Orlando Magic, the Brooklyn Nets, and even perhaps the Washington Wizards kind of on the outside looking in. They're not on that same level as the top 6 teams. So what I'm getting at is if the Heat were to get the 3rd seed, they're playing. You're playing Indiana. I mean, Indiana's very good. Right now, as long as we can hold on to the top 4 seeds, the way it looks now, I don't see a big difference between getting the 3rd and 4th seed. That's just me, guys. That's just me. Moving right along, the game on Friday was a very good win, as I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, because Jimmy Butler was out, our team leader. He did not play in this game. Kendrick Nunn would lead the way for the Heat, 24 points, 8 assists, and 2 steals. Really good performance by him. Duncan Robinson, 19 points with 5 3-pointers. Kelly Olynyk would get the start. 17 points, 4 3-pointers, and 2 steals. See, Kelly Olynyk, when he gets the time meaning minutes, playing time, he's a producer, and I have always liked him as a player. And the Miami Heat are definitely glad, I'm sure, to have him. Mainly as a role player coming off the bench, but now we see him getting the start and playing really well. Bam Adebayo again, strong performance, 15 points. He was more in the assist frame of mind in this game, although he's been getting more assists lately. His passing skills improving almost on a daily basis, it seems. 9 assists as well for Bam. Derrick Jones Jr. had a really nice, well-rounded game with 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals. You get 4 steals. That's a lot, guys. Goran Dragic would lead the Heat off the bench. 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. That's been pretty much the case all season, as Dragic is our #1 scorer, kind of that spark that comes off the bench in more of a scoring role as well. Newcomer to the Heat, Jay Crowder, would have 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 steals. So we had, between Kendrick Nunn, Olynyk, Derrick Jones Jr., and Jay Crowder, that's 13 steals between those 4 guys. That's a lot. Andre Iguodala would get 18 minutes of playing time, scored 2 points, had 3 rebounds. In this game, he's known for his team play. I mean, he's much more than a box score, guy. He's much more than, how many did he score, how many rebounds. He plays really well on both ends. Of course, we're getting he's a good defender, meaning he's a good defender. It's kind of an NBA or really a basketball. For those of you who are not aware, when you hear play on both ends, you're a good defender and you can also score. You're well-rounded. You play the game well on both ends of the floor, and that is Andre Iguodala, most definitely. At age 36, of course, he's had plenty of experience in the league. The Heat need his experience, and I am very glad that he has come to the Miami Heat via trade this season. For the rebuilding Cleveland Cavaliers, everyone, Cedi Osman would lead the way. 19 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Collin Sexton, 17 points, 9 assists. Darius Garland, 14 points, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Nice game for him. Larry Nance Jr., 10 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals. Andre Drummond, 6 points and 6 rebounds for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavaliers had a couple of players play well off their bench. Tristan Thompson, he's been a good player for a handful of years now in the league. 16 points, 7 rebounds. Dante Exum, 14 points. He had 8 rebounds, and he did have a block as well. Ante Zizic, 7 points and a steal. Kevin Porter Jr., 2 points, 2 rebounds. He also contributed a steal and also a block for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the Heat, as we look into the next few games, the Heat have certainly benefited from a nice post-game schedule, post-All-Star break schedule. Although we're still 1-1, we lost that game to Atlanta on the road right after the All-Star break. The Atlanta Hawks are a little bit, I would say, on the upswing. I mean, you look at their record and you're like, but they are a young team. They are getting better. It really didn't surprise me that we got caught in that one and we lost that game. Some final thoughts on the game against Cleveland Friday night. The Heat would shoot the ball very well at 57%. They would shoot particularly well behind the three-point line, going 19 for 40. That's very good from three-point range, 47.5%. Cleveland would out-rebound the Heat. That's kind of been an on-again, off-again concern of mine regarding our ability to win the battle of the boards. And I'm going to have to say it's a little bit more of an on-again concern of mine. We can't get out-rebounded like we did Friday night. It was 40-29. The Heat lost the rebounding battle by 11 against a team that's only won something like 15 games the whole year. 15 or 16 games, something like that, all year. So I mean, come on, we gotta watch that. That's going to come back and get us in the playoffs if we don't improve in that area. Heat would have 16 steals. That was very nice as a team against only 8 for Cleveland, and the turnovers were a big part of the Heat victory on Friday night. We would actually have 9 less turnovers than Cleveland Cavaliers. As Cleveland would have 24 turnovers, the Heat only had 15. Okay, so the outlook for the Miami Heat, of course, like many teams, everyone, in the Eastern Conference, we got to get healthy. We're now entering here this last 26-game stretch, sitting at 36-20. Jimmy Butler, of course, is a key part of the team. The Heat looked pretty good without him, though. But again, this was against one of the bottom teams in the Eastern Conference. So we have to kind of look at that in a couple different ways. So that's really where we're at. I mean, I put number 4 here, outlook. I'm going to say my outlook really depends a lot upon what we're going to have to see in these next 26 games before the playoffs is the roles getting set, how we're going to work our bench, because there's been, let's be honest, I mean, there's been a lot of change as far as due to injury, trades. Your only real constant players off the bench have been Olynyk, who started on Friday, Derrick Jones Jr., who had to get the start due to injury for the Heat, and he's been great off of our bench. Dragic really is our only guy that's been coming off the bench all year consistently. In a way, Derrick Jones Jr. too, and then Tyler Hero, we got to get him back 100% as well. So kind of a banged up Heat team right now, but I like our chances. But again, and this will be part of my point number 4 outlook. I mean, I'm optimistic. I feel really good about the record, but in all likelihood, we're going to be going up a team that in the first round that is every bit as good as we are. Especially if we get a 4 seed, you're going to go up. I mean, it's either going to be Philadelphia or the Pacers. In all likelihood, no matter what happens, guys. I mean, unless we go on a big run, which would be great, and challenge for that 2 seed, you're going to be looking at either Philadelphia Sixers or Indiana Pacers in the first round. So not an easy task, but you know what? We'll cross that bridge when we get there, everyone. So looking ahead, the schedule has once again favored the Heat looking ahead into beginning to the middle part of this coming week. As we're at the Cleveland Cavaliers, so it's a home and home against Cleveland, meaning we played them at home Friday, and now on Monday we will play in Cleveland. That's the 24th, and then on Wednesday we have a home game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So that's not a bad 4 games to get started, right? You're on the road against the Hawks, home against Cleveland, on the road against Cleveland, home against Minnesota Timberwolves. Not a very difficult schedule coming out of that All-Star break. So it would be nice to win these next 2. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but it would be nice. Okay. So the Heat stand 36-20 heading into this coming week. Let's hope for the best in Cleveland. That's tomorrow night, Monday night, the 24th. For now, guys, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, we got to be happy the way things are looking, but at the same time, things also need to improve a little bit too. The Eastern Conference is very good this year, very competitive this year. So for now, this is Sports Snippets, Dennis Sullivan. I will see you, yes, you, next time. For now, that's about it. Stay tuned for my next video coming up soon, and we'll discuss more Miami Heat. Thanks.